Okay, welcome back. I have salsa going. I've actually already cut up the tomatoes. I use tomatoes, tomatillas, green peppers, red onions. I also use a can of diced tomatoes that has peppers and onions in it, in addition to a can of the Rotel diced tomatoes with chilies. I also use, for this batch, because it's so big, I'm actually using about a half a cup of the Fiesta salsa mix. So once you, and I also use about a fourth a cup of lemon or lime juice. If you hear popping or a noise in the background, it's the mushrooms that I just got done canning. So that's what you're going to hear. But for this big of a batch, I am using a little bit more than what I would for a smaller batch. Now, as I said about the mushrooms, I do my produce shopping at my local farmer's market. I use Roma tomatoes for my salsa, that's what we prefer. But I got 10 pounds of Roma tomatoes for just right at $10. So that's a lot cheaper than what you're paying for them at the store. We have, our website is actually called ourfrugalhomestead.com, and really that's the name explains itself. It's about us trying to find ways to save money and try to do more for ourselves, and more importantly, it's about knowing where our food comes from and trying to eat healthier without all the added chemicals and stuff that's put into our processed foods. Now, for the salsa, what I did was I had already done a batch yesterday. Then I used about half of the tomatoes. So I used about 2.5 to 3 pounds of tomatoes yesterday. So I had 2.5 pounds left, and that's what this is. For this big of a batch, I used 3 medium green peppers chopped. I used two red onions. I used 2 tomatillas and 2 jalapeno peppers, in addition to the can of diced tomatoes with peppers and onions, and the Rotel diced tomatoes with green chilies. I used just under a half a cup of lemon juice. What the lemon juice does is it helps with the acidity of the tomatoes and stuff, and it just kind of gives it a good blend. And then again, I used about a half a cup of the Fiesta salsa mix made by Ball. And what I did was I put it in a big pot, and we're going to let this cook down for about 10 minutes. I use a medium heat for mine, and then just stir. I've already got my jars in there. I've already washed my jars and have hot water in them, and have my lids. Again, as I talked in the video about canning the mushrooms, some people say not to boil these because it breaks the seal and it keeps it from canning and preserving the food. So what I do for me is I boil my lids, and then as I'm getting ready to top off my jars, I just take a pair of tongs and drop them into the hot water and pull them out and place them on the lid. Now, I do not use all the utensils that are common that everyone else uses in their canning videos as far as the funnel. Yes, it does make it easier getting the food into the jars. It makes less of a mess. I use tongs for my caps and my lids, as to the magnetized piece that will pull the seal part of the lid up. So I'm going to stop here until the salsa has cooked for about 10 minutes, and then we'll move forward. Thank you.